Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is at the center of discussion right now, and it is because of the recent semi-limit of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on the OCG ban list recently. And people are saying that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is a problem and should be hit on the next forbidden slash limited list for the TCG. Now, I am going to say that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is not a problem. I don't know where all these people are coming out the woodworks saying that Ash Blossom is a problem and this card just it's always been a problem. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's a problem. I think there's other issues, and Ash Blossom is getting the blame for it. Now, before that, I'll give a background story on why people are necessarily saying that Ash Blossom is a problem. And it's because of the Molcharmies. Molcharmies are one of the most powerful cards going second and gives a lot of players a chance to play going second because now they're put under this pressure that they can't just spam a bunch of monsters for free and, play through a bunch of hand traps because they can. Because a lot of these decks, if you imperm something, they have an extender and they basically get to the full combo anyways. But if you have a Molcharmy that gets you the draws, it gets you to more hand traps, and it constantly puts pressure onto your opponent, they're not going to put up an insane board and it can be breakable. But people are saying that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring prevents this type of gameplay because it stops the Molcharmies. Now, while I do agree that I believe that the Molcharmy card should resolve, I don't think it should be the centerpiece or the key factor in playing going second. I think that the Molcharmy should help you go second a lot more, but I don't think it should be at the center to where you're only relying on the Molcharmies to play going second, and they need to resolve. I think at that point, there's another issue in the format. Now, we've seen that in the OCG format, Maxi and Ash Blossom, they've been played since forever. And it's because Maxi can be stopped by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, the difference between Maxi and Ash Blossom is that Maxi covers way more ground and it's way more generic, and it's just a card that you use going first and going second. So you just need something to stop Maxi. It's just too powerful of a card, and it's just a problem in general. Now, to get rid of this is just to get rid of Maxi, because Maxi is a broken card and should have probably never been printed. I don't know, or just should have been changed to do something like the Molcharmies. I think that would have been way better, but we didn't have the foresight at the time. Konami didn't have the foresight at the time, so it's whatever. They just banned the card, move on. They printed the Molcharmies to replace them. It's whatever. But my argument is that these decks are the problem, not Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, the reason, you got to think about this. The reason why people want the Molcharmies to resolve is because it's hard to go second. So you hit Ash Blossom. No, that's not, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? The obvious solution is to stop these decks from doing insane combos. Stop these decks from making unbreakable boards. It's not the hit Ash Blossom so we can resolve Molcharmies so we can put a band-aid on the format. No, just get rid of the problem. And it's not that hard to get rid of a lot of these problems. It'll probably take like maybe 2 to 3 ban lists to like solve this issue, and just continuously dealing with the issue when it comes into the format. Let's look at the decks that we have in the TCG right now. We have the Mitsurugi Yummy deck, which is a crazy deck that you need Molcharmies against, because when you have not only the Yummy part, but you have the Mitsu part that both bridge together, and every time you play this deck and you resolve a combo, you're getting to both the engines and you get like 7+ interruptions. That should not be legal. That should not be something that should be in the format. Now, if you just play pure Yummy, that's fine. If you just play pure Mitsu, that's fine. What I'm getting to is that the bridges are the problem. The bridges that get you not only to one engine that gets like 3 interruptions. Now you're adding 3 more interruptions, and that's becoming, or 3 or 4 interruptions, and that's becoming like 7 or 8 or 9 interruptions that is just impossible to play through with engine. You have to draw non-engine to beat that, and it has to be specific non-engine, or it has to be the Molcharmy cards. So we have to deal with the problem, which is the bridges, so that we don't have to rely on the Molcharmies to resolve. Another issue, K9, whatever, Vanquish Soul, K9, whatever. The K9 cards are an issue. You know why? K9 Ripper. K9 Ripper says negate a hand trap and also add a card. That just extends your plays crazily. The problem is obviously Ripper, but it's also another problem. Bridges. All of these bridges. I'm going to go through all of them. Herald of the Arclight. It's just, this is like everything wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! In a card. It's a bridge, it's a negate, and it's a floodgate. Everything wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! Just ban the card. It needs to be banned. It needs to be banned. Zombie Vampire. It's not really that much of an issue, but it is technically a bridge and could get you to your other part of your engine and allows you to multiply your interruptions or add on to your interruptions. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. River Stormer, another card. Yes, this does hurt Infinite Track or Earth Machine or whatever, but it's just too powerful of a card. It's just too generic. They made it way too generic. And now with the K9 cards, it's just too much of a problem. Just get rid of the bridge. Malice to an extent. Malice is another card or another deck that just bridges into like its archetype. You just normal summon a Malice card, you summon 2 more bodies, and guess what? Oh, I get a red ransom. I get like a white binder. It's just, why have this in the game? Wicked is another example of a card. I know a lot of people are not talking about Wicked, but it is technically a bridge. It gets to the Agnister cards. So like getting rid of this or all these cards, they stop you from multiplying or adding to your interruptions for these crazy boards. And another issue is decks that tutor out floodgates or can get to floodgates. We see Deep Sea Prima Donna. This card is mainly used to summon out the Barrier Statue. Why is that in the game? Albion. Mainly used to summon a floodgate to your opponent's field. Conquery. Mainly used to summon a floodgate. Barrier Statue, Spell Canceller. Just get rid of these cards that allow your opponent to have just an auto win in their deck. Get rid of these cards to just summon floodgates to your field. Get rid of these cards that bridge to multiply and add onto your interruptions. Don't ban Ash Blossom because we want Moltar. No, get rid of the actual issue. The actual issue is these decks doing insane combos. Again, if you look at something like Pure Yummy is a prime example, minus the Arclight. What do? They have a couple of bounces, like a Book of Moon. They backed up with like hand traps, and then like a lot of follow up. That's fine. A lot of people enjoy that type of Yu-Gi-Oh. We see Draco Tail, pure Draco Tail, or Branded Draco Tail to an extent. I mean, it's basically the same deck. It's sets up a couple of trap cards, and it has 5 mana. That's fine. That's fine to an extent. Now, Flame might be a little bit crazy. Flame might be a little crazy on top of like all those interruptions and the draws, of course. But like, a lot of people enjoy the interactions with Draco Tail, going first or going second. It's only when you have something like Mitsurugi in Yummy or Mitsurugi Raizio before to where the deck are just crazy. So instead of eliminating Ash Blossom, we need to eliminate the bridges that allow these decks to set up insane, unbreakable, crazy boards. That way we don't have to rely on Molcharmies. Because let's say we get rid of all these bridges, right? We get rid of all of these cards that just summon floodgates. Now we're just in this pure Yummy, pure Mitsu, pure Draco Tail, pure like K9 kind of format. And even if they're playing these other engines, they're not bridging into them, so they have to hard draw them. And at that point, they're not drawing like non-engines. So they're sacrificing more of their non-engines to play these type of decks, and now they're weaker going second. So now they're just weaker in general because you can't bridge into them. So you have to play more of these engines to account for the loss of those bridges. So just get rid of the bridges and you don't have the issue of needing a Molcharmy to resolve. Because again, for an example, playing against Yummy, you Molcharmy them. They Ash Blossom the Molcharmy. Then they set up their board. Their board is breakable. It doesn't matter if they Ash your Molcharmy. That's fine. Because guess what? You have 5 other cards in your hand, and that can be used to break the Yummy board because it's not unbreakable without Herald. Again, without Herald. Because assuming that Herald is going to be banned, the end board is not really that crazy. Same thing with Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi sets up, what? Purification, which is kind of an insane card. Probably should be banned, but again, Purification, probably like an IP, and then like a couple of board, maybe like a board wipe. They summon some follow-up. That's not crazy. You could break that. That's super easy to break. So, even if you like Molcharmy, this Molcharmy is not even good against this deck. That's not even a point. But like, you get what I'm saying. You don't need Molcharmies to resolve against these type of decks for it to be like breakable going second. Because the boards that they make regularly are not crazy. Again, Draco Tail is probably the most extreme example because they set up a good amount of interruptions. But even then, it's still breakable. Like, if you have specific cards, like double Cyclone and stuff like that, to get rid of these stuff going second, games 2 and 3, it's fair enough. And even then, like some decks just really don't care about the interruptions like Horn or Sting or something like that. Like, sometimes it just doesn't matter and they just use it for a draw. So at that point, like, the Draco Tail matchup is really not that crazy. And even then, they're not sending up that many interruptions again. So it's breakable. It's a breakable deck going second. So you don't need to resolve Charmies against this deck. And Charmies, again, are not even good against Draco Tail. So you don't need to play them. That's the point. Pure K9. Obviously, Perilia is really crazy against this deck. You Perilia them. Okay, they Ash Blossom it. Guess what? They're making a Ripper. They're setting, like, the quick play spells. And they're passing their turn. Maybe with a couple of hand traps. Maybe they look at your hand. That's fine. Like, whatever. Like, the board is breakable. The board is not crazy. It's when you add Vanquisol, you add Crystron, you add Mitsurugi, you add all these other, like, engines that you could play with it that the end board becomes crazy. That's why we need to get rid of other cards. Like Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave should be banned. This serves, the only purpose this card serves is to stop hand traps. 90% of the time. Crossout Designator. 100% of the time, it's to stop, like, let's say 99% of the time. Because sometimes in mirror matches, you are going to stop stuff. But, like, for the most part, 99% of the time, it's to stop hand traps. Triple Tactics Talents. A card that is pretty cool. Yes, it's a cool card. But, again, it is used to get rid of hand traps. You get hand trap, okay, well, look at your hand. Oh, you have any other hand traps? Okay, you don't have hand traps. Let's rip the best card out of your hand and just combo anyways. Talents is just, it just should be banned. Triple Tactics Thrust, a hot take. I think this card should be hit. It should be banned. This card is crazy. It just says, okay, you hand trap me? Okay, I'm gonna set a Featherstorm. I'm gonna set a different dimension ground. I'm gonna set any other these like niche cards that just counter your strategy, and I just win the game because I just set a thrust. And even if you hand trap me, I probably still have combo anyway, so I'm just gonna set a floodgate just in case, and I'm just gonna keep comboing. So, like, Triple Tactics Thrust is a card that just probably should be banned, even though it's a cool card going second, because yeah, it's cool. You can go second, your opponent interrupts you, you can activate this card, get Dark Ruler, get Regeki, get Feather Duster. That's cool. But like for the most part, this card is used to set a floodgate. This card is used to rip from your opponent's hand. This is used to stop hand traps. This is used to stop hand traps. Like we should get rid of these cards. We should prioritize these cards, but not Ash Blossom. When you look at Ash Blossom and you say that this card should be hit because of the Bolt Armies, then you lose the plot. You lose the plot at this point. Because Ash Blossom going second is fine. But going first, yeah, you can stop a Mulch Army, but like it doesn't stop all hand traps. Like Call by the Grave stops most hand traps. Cross-eyed Designator stops most hand traps. Talents gets rid of most, like all hand traps. Thrust punishes you for hand tapping your opponent and just they get a floodgate. Ash Blossom, it just stops Mulch Armies. Is that really that big of an issue? Maybe if we let all of these bridges exist, but if you get rid of these bridges, you get rid of these decks that put insane boards onto the field, it's not an issue. It's not an issue because you don't need to resolve Mulch Armies. Mulch Armies is just a bonus. Because you resolve the Mulch Army, guess what? They make a weaker board. But if they Ash Blossom it, guess what? They got rid of the Ash Blossom and they're still setting up a board that's breakable with 5 cards in your hand. So I don't see the issue. I really do not see the issue with Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. This is just a rant. Didn't want to go too crazy, but I just wanted to get that point across that Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is definitely not the issue. It's definitely these bridges like Herald of the Arclight and like other cards that are just too crazy, or decks that are just too crazy, like the K9 deck with Ripper is just too insane. So we just need to get rid of these stuff. We just need to get rid of a lot of these insane combo decks. Maybe leave like the bad ones, like the little worse ones, like White Forest and stuff like that. Yeah, they're kind of problematic, but they're still like super weak going second, so they have at least a flaw. These decks, just get rid of them. If they're top tier, just get rid of them. If they're like roguish, I guess it's fine. You still have the Mulch Armies to deal with it. You still have other cards, like they're obviously weak to stuff. So it's whatever. It's whatever. Just stop saying Ash Blossom is a problem. It really isn't. It just really is not a problem.